Hey everyone, welcome to Talk Ralph. Today we're diving into English tenses, simple, clear, and easy to use in real conversations.
I want you to imagine you are sitting at a coffee shop.
Okay, a coffee shop. I like it.
Right. And you are telling a friend about this completely disastrous date you went on last night.
Oh, we have all been there.
Yeah, exactly. And you want to get right to the worst part, like the absolute climax of the disaster. So you look at your friend and you say, "We missed the movie."
A classic tragedy.
Right. Now, that is a perfectly fine sentence. It gets the point across. But human beings are, we're natural storytellers.
We are, yeah.
So immediately, your friend is going to lean in and ask, "Oh, no, why?" And now you have a problem.
You really do.
Yeah.
Because you have to explain the cause of the disaster.
Exactly. But the cause happened before the disaster.
I know.
And in English, you cannot just casually jump backward in time without warning your listener. You literally have to time travel.
You do. You have to, you basically have to invent a prequel to your own story right there on the spot.
Yes. You have to use this highly specific, kind of complex grammatical structure just to say, because he had forgotten to buy the ticket.
It is incredibly demanding when you stop and really think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, you are manipulating the flow of time right there in the middle of a sip of coffee.
Exactly. And if you are listening to us right now and you are on this journey of learning English as a second language, you know exactly how demanding this is.
Oh, they definitely do.
Like, you know the exact page in your language textbook that makes your stomach just completely drop to the floor.
I know the exact page you're talking about.
Right. It's that massive, terrifying grid. Rows and columns of verbs looking less like a living, breathing language and more like, I don't know, an intimidating mathematical matrix designed to just punish you.
It looks like a spreadsheet for an accountant, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it completely strips away the humanity of how we actually speak to each other. I mean, when you look at a grid labeled the 12 English verb tenses, it triggers this immediate sense of information overload. It makes you feel like you need a degree in advanced logic. Just to
order a cup of coffee.
Exactly. Or tell a funny story about your weekend.
Well, to you, our dedicated learner listening right now, welcome to today's deep dive, because we have a massive mission today.
We do.
We are going to take that terrifying grid, crumple it up into a tiny little ball, and throw it completely out the window.
I love that. Throw it out.
We are not doing math today. We are going to entirely demystify this topic, and we are going to do it by changing the way you look at time itself.
And we are incredibly lucky to be guided today by some fantastic source material.
Yes, we are.
We are pulling the core insights from a YouTube masterclass created by Brian Wiles. It's simply titled, Learn All English Verb Tenses. He calls it the easiest method.
And it really is.
Right. And what makes this specific source so vital for an English learner isn't just that it lists the rules, because anyone can do that. It is the fundamental mindset shift it brings to the table.
Right. So let's establish that mindset immediately, because I think if we don't change the foundation of how we approach this, we are just going to fall right back into the anxiety of that 12-box grid.
Exactly.
So how should our listener be thinking about these tenses?
Well, instead of viewing these 12 tenses as this rigid set of rules that you have to memorize to pass a grammar exam, I want you to visualize them as 12 different lenses.
Lenses, like for a camera.
Like a photographer's camera bag, exactly. Think about it. Inside that bag, there are different lenses you can pop onto the front of your camera.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
Each lens alters how the light enters the camera. And so it completely alters how the final picture looks.
I love that imagery. So you aren't changing the world, you're just changing how you capture it.
Precisely. Each English verb tense is just a different lens you can attach to your perspective to view time in a slightly different way.
Right.
They are these beautiful, highly specific tools designed to help you describe the human experience.
Because sometimes to tell a story, you need like a wide-angle lens, right?
A wide-angle lens to capture the sweeping scope of an entire lifetime.
Right.
But other times, you need a super macro, extreme close-up lens to focus on what a person is doing during this exact fleeting millisecond.
And as we saw with the bad date story earlier, sometimes you need a lens that somehow looks backward and forward at the exact same time.
Which is wild, but true.
So rather than walking through a boring table of contents, we are going to look at how English speakers build their reality.
Step by step.
We'll start with the bedrock, how we describe permanent realities and the exact present moment.
Right, the here and now.
But human lives don't stay in the present. The moment we stop doing something, that reality fractures and we have to plunge into the past to explain our memories.
The closed chapters.
Exactly. And once we've exhausted everything that has ever happened, well, we will reach into the unwritten timelines of the future.
It really is a journey through the mechanics of time travel.
It is. So let's attach our very first lens. We are grounding ourselves in the now. This is the absolute foundation of the language, the present simple.
Brian Wiles starts his masterclass here for a very strategic reason. Because if you are learning English, the present simple is your home base.
It's the anchor.
It is the anchor. The core concept of this lens is that we use it to talk about facts, we use it to talk about habits, and we use it to talk about schedules.
Okay, think about the most basic statements of reality, like a fact. That is my phone.
Right.
A habit. He studies every day.
Perfect.
Or a schedule. On weekends, we play soccer.
What is genuinely fascinating here is the sheer amount of heavy lifting this single simple tense does in daily life.
Oh, it does so much work.
Brian points out that the present simple is, by a massive margin, the most commonly used verb tense in the spoken English language.
Which has to be a huge sigh of relief for anyone listening right now.
It really should be.
I mean, the easiest one is the most common one. You don't get that lucky very often in English grammar.
You don't. It should be incredibly comforting. Because it is so dominant, you do not need to sit in a room with flashcards to master it. You are going to absorb it through sheer exposure.
Right.
Every time you read a news article, every time you watch a sitcom, every time you ask for directions, you are swimming in the present simple.
Okay, but I have to stop you right here.
Okay.
Because I want to introduce a genuine point of confusion, and I think it's a trap that so many learners fall into because of the actual name we give this tool.
The name itself.
Yeah, we call it the present simple, but calling it present almost feels like a linguistic trick. It feels like false advertising.
That is a bold claim.
Yeah.
Walk me through your logic there. Why is it a trick?
Well, okay, look at the very first example we used. That is my phone.
Right.
That is a fact. But if I say, that is my phone today, in the present, it is highly likely that it was also my phone yesterday.
Which is the past.
Which is the past. And assuming I don't lose it, it will probably still be my phone tomorrow, which is the future.
Ah, I see where you're going with this.
Or take the habit. He studies every day. Every day covers the past, the present, and the future.
It does.
So why on earth do grammarians call it the present tense if it encompasses practically all of time?
That is a brilliant observation, and it honestly cuts right to the heart of why textbook names can be so misleading for learners.
Right.
When a learner hears the word present, their mind immediately goes to the ticking clock. They think it means this exact literal second in time.
Yes, exactly.
But that is not what the present simple does. The present simple is the lens of permanence.
The lens of permanence.
Yeah.
Okay, unpack that for me.
It is about what is generally true in the universe of the speaker. If a fact is true, it just is. It exists in a permanent state of reality.
Like, the sky is blue.
Exactly. The sun rises in the east. Water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. I live in New York.
Right.
These aren't things happening just in this one ticking second. They are the background wallpaper of reality. So we call it present because it is a reality that is currently active and true, even if it was also true yesterday.
Okay, I see. It's the default state of the world. So if I say I drink coffee, that doesn't mean I have a mug of coffee touching my lips right this literal second.
Not at all.
It means, like, as a permanent characteristic of my identity, I am a coffee drinker.
Exactly. It is your identity. It is a permanent trait.
Okay, so if the present simple is this wide-angle lens that captures permanent realities and lifelong habits, what lens do we attach to the camera when we actually do want to look at the exact ticking second of the clock?
Good question.
Because sometimes I don't want to talk about my permanent identity. Sometimes I just want to tell you what my hands are doing right now.
Well, that requires a completely different mechanism. To do that, we swap out the wide-angle lens for our super macro close-up lens, which is the present continuous.
The present continuous. Okay, this is where we start seeing words ending in ing, right?
Yes.
Studying, watching, speaking, flying.
Precisely. The core concept here is immediate temporary action. These are events that are happening right now, exactly as the breath is leaving our lungs to speak the words.
Right. Think about the scenarios. I am studying. You are watching this video right now. An airplane is flying through the sky.
Exactly.
I always visualize the present continuous as the live broadcast tense.
Oh, I like that. The live broadcast.
Yeah, imagine a film director on a movie set yelling, "Action." If you can point a live television camera at the subject and you can visibly see them actively moving, breathing, sweating, or doing the thing in that exact moment, it is present continuous.
That's a great test for it.
Right. An airplane is flying. You can point your camera at the sky and track its movement across the clouds. I am speaking. You can literally look at my jaw moving right now.
And this brings up a really crucial sensory detail for English learners. That ing suffix studying, flying, speaking. You should think of that sound as the physical sound of motion in the English language.
The physical sound of motion.
Yes, it is the sound of an engine running. It is the sound of a wheel spinning. When you attach ing to a verb, you are telling the listener, the motor is currently on and the wheels are currently turning.
I love that. The motor is running. But let's contrast these two lenses because I think this is where learners get tripped up.
They absolutely do.
Let's say you meet someone at a party and they ask you, "What do you do?" If you answer using the present simple and say, "I study English," what are you actually telling them?
You are telling them your permanent identity. You are saying, I am a student. This is my general habit in life.
Right.
You could be holding a plate of cheese at a party, nowhere near a book.
Yeah.
And the statement is still 100% true because it is a permanent fact.
Right. But what happens if they ask you what you are doing and
Yeah.
you use the present continuous and say, "I am studying English"?
Well, if you say that at a party while holding a plate of cheese, people are going to look at you like you are crazy.
Yes.
Because I am studying means the motor is running right now.
Yeah.
It implies you have a textbook open in front of your face at that exact second.
Yeah.
It is a temporary live action.
That is such a vivid distinction. Permanent identity versus temporary live action. Okay, so we've mastered the static background of reality, and we've mastered the spinning wheel of the exact moment. But here is where the English language throws a massive curveball at learners.
Oh boy. Yes, it does.
Frankly, this is where the frustration really begins for a lot of students. We are moving to the third present tense, which is the present perfect.
Ah, yes. The present perfect. This is often the single biggest hurdle in the entire language.
Let's just look at the examples Brian Wiles uses for this tense, and I think you'll immediately see why it's so frustrating for a learner.
Let's hear them.
I have studied English for 3 years. She has eaten breakfast already. He has lived there all his life. They have never been to Mexico.
Right.
Now, if I'm an English learner and I'm translating these sentences in my head, I'm looking at the words have studied, has eaten, has lived. My brain immediately says, wait a minute. I ate breakfast an hour ago. The breakfast is gone. The action is over.
Yes, the eggs are gone.
So why on earth do English speakers categorize this as a present tense? It clearly happened in the past.
It is a completely valid source of frustration, and it requires us to break down a piece of grammatical machinery that looks very scary, but is actually quite simple.
Okay, let's break it down.
Let's look at the construction. We are using the word have or has, followed by what grammarians call a past participle. Words like studied, eaten, lived, been.
Okay, I have to stop you right there.
What did I do?
Past participle. You just used a textbook jargon word, and I promised the listener we were throwing the textbook out the window.
Ah, fair point, fair point.
If I am a learner, I know the word eat, that's present. I know the word ate, that's past. What on earth is eaten? Why do we have a third word? Explain it to me like I am 5 years old.
That is a perfectly fair challenge. Let's demystify the past participle right now.
Please do.
Think of a video game. When you finish a difficult level in a video game, a little badge pops up on your screen that says, achievement unlocked, right?
Yeah, you get a little trophy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The past participle, words like eaten, broken, seen, gone. That is the achievement unlocked form of the verb.
Oh, that is so cool.
It represents the completed state of the action. The action itself is dead and gone, but the result of the action is something you now possess.
Oh, okay. So when I use the word have, I am talking about possession. Like I have a car.
Exactly. Now put it together. I have eaten. You are literally saying, I currently possess the unlocked achievement of eating.
Wow.
The action is over, yes. The breakfast is in your stomach.
Yeah.
But the possession of that experience is happening right now, in the present. That is why Brian Wiles says we use the present perfect to talk about how an action from the past describes the subject now.
Wow. So it fundamentally is not a tense about the past at all. It is a tense about your present identity.
It is entirely about your identity. I call this lens the bridge of experience.
Yeah.
It is a bridge that connects a completed past action directly to who you are today.
Let's break down the breakfast example even further to make sure this is crystal clear.
Let's do it.
She has eaten breakfast already. If a native speaker says this, why are they bringing it up? Because they don't actually care about the eggs or the toast she ate an hour ago, do they?
Not at all. The physical action of chewing and swallowing is totally irrelevant.
Yeah.
They're bringing it up because they are focused on her state of being today in this exact moment.
Right.
By saying she has eaten, they're communicating she is currently a person who is not hungry, or perhaps she is currently a person who does not need to be invited to the diner with us. The past action created a present reality.
That is a massive perspective shift. It is not about when the action happened. It is about the fact that the action is a permanent stamp on your passport of life.
That's a great way to put it.
Let's look at the Mexico example. They have never been to Mexico.
Right. The absolute lack of an action in the past defines their present reality. Who are they today? They are currently people who do not possess the experience of Mexican travel.
So if a learner wants to say, I have studied English for 3 years, they are not telling a story about a classroom 3 years ago.
No, they aren't.
They are saying, look at me right now. I am currently walking around as a person who possesses 3 years of accumulated English knowledge.
Precisely. It is the tense of your current accumulated life experience. Once you realize it's about possessing an achievement rather than reporting a past event, the whole tense suddenly clicks into place.
Okay, that is incredibly illuminating, but the English language is never satisfied, is it?
Never.
We have a fourth and final present tense, and this one takes that achievement unlocked concept and adds a spinning motor to it. We arrive at the present perfect continuous.
This is a beautiful, highly expressive tense. The core concept here is an action that started in the past and continues nonstop into the present moment.
Let's look at the scenarios Brian presents. I have been studying Spanish for 8 years. He has been sleeping for 12 hours. She's been working 2 jobs since February. They have been traveling for 5 weeks.
If we meticulously break down Brian's explanation of, I have been studying Spanish for 8 years, he notes that it communicates 3 distinct things simultaneously.
Okay, what are they?
1. I started the action of studying 8 years ago. 2. I never stopped. The chain is unbroken. 3. I am still actively learning right now.
Wow, that's a lot of information in one sentence.
It is. It emphasizes the starting point, but more importantly, it emphasizes the ongoing duration.
Now, I have to push back here because this is exactly where a learner throws their hands up in frustration.
I can hear them throwing their hands up right now.
Right. If I translate this into my native language, it might translate exactly the same as the present perfect we just talked about.
Often it does, yes.
So what is the actual functional difference between saying, I have studied Spanish for 8 years, and I have been studying Spanish for 8 years? To a learner, adding the word been and the ing just feels like a lot of extra redundant syllables.
I get that.
Why do I need to add this motor? It feels so heavy in the mouth.
It feels heavy because it is specifically designed to feel heavy.
Oh, really?
Yes. You are incredibly perceptive to pick up on that vibe. The extra syllables are there to force the listener to feel the weight of the time.
Interesting.
While the present perfect focuses on the result, the achievement unlocked. The present perfect continuous emphasizes the grind.
The grind, the physical toll of the action.
Yes. I call this tense the unbroken chain. When you say she has been working 2 jobs since February, the ing spinning motor in the word working forces the listener's brain to feel the ongoing continuous effort.
You feel the exhaustion.
Exactly. It highlights the exhaustion or the dedication or simply the sheer mind-numbing length of time that this unbroken chain has been stretching forward. You don't just want to say she has the job. You want the listener to feel how tired she is.
Oh, that makes so much sense. It is the difference between looking at a photograph and watching a video.
Explain that.
If you use the present perfect, I've run a marathon, it's like showing someone a still photograph of you at the finish line with a medal around your neck. You possess the achievement, but if you use the present perfect continuous, I have been running for 3 hours, it's like showing them a live video of you sweating, panting, and struggling at mile 20. You feel the duration. You feel the unbroken chain.
That is an absolutely perfect analogy. You use the continuous form when you want the listener to experience the duration with you.
So we have thoroughly mapped out the present. We have our permanent wide-angle realities with the present simple.
Check.
We have our spinning live broadcasts with present continuous.
Sure.
Our bridges of accumulated life experience with present perfect.
Check.
And the heavy, unbroken chains of our ongoing efforts with present perfect continuous.
We did it.
All of these lenses, in one way or another, connect to the exact moment we are living in right now. But life is not a continuous, unbroken chain. People quit jobs, people move away, people start running. What happens the moment a link in that chain snaps? The moment the connection to now is completely severed.
The moment that connection snaps, we instantly fall into a completely different realm of the English language. We leave the present behind and we plunge into the closed chapters and the background scenes of our lives.
We enter the past.
The past.
And just like the present, the past has 4 distinct lenses. And we are going to start with the most dramatic severing of time possible, the past simple.
The past simple is incredibly common, and conceptually it is very straightforward. The core concept is an action that started in the past and finished in the past. Done. Over.
I call this the closed box.
I like that.
Let's look at the specific scenarios from the masterclass. I studied. She worked last night. He ate eggs for breakfast. I lived in Chicago when I was a child.
What is absolutely crucial for you, the learner, to understand here is the strict, impenetrable boundary of this tense.
It's a hard line.
It is a hard line. When Brian Wiles teaches he ate eggs for breakfast, he explicitly adds a massive disclaimer. He says, he ate eggs then, he is not eating them now. When he teaches, I lived in Chicago when I was a child, he clarifies, I lived there then, and I do not live there now.
So there is absolutely zero connection to the present moment. None.
Zero connection.
Yeah.
The past simple is dead. It is entirely finished. If the present perfect is a bridge connecting the past to today, the past simple is a drawbridge that has been pulled all the way up, locking the castle gates. The event is locked away in a closed box, buried in the past.
This is such a critical distinction to make because I know learners who agonize over whether to say, I have lived in Chicago or I lived in Chicago.
and struggle.
But the choice completely changes the reality of their life. If they use the present perfect and say, I have lived in Chicago, they are telling me the bridge is down, they still live there, the experience is currently active.
Right.
But if they use the past simple and say, I lived in Chicago, they are telling me the drawbridge is up, they packed their bags, they moved away, the box is closed.
Exactly. The choice of tense tells the listener whether the action touches the now. In the past simple, it never ever touches the now. It is the tense of history.
Okay, so the past simple gives us the cold, hard facts of history. But history isn't just facts. History is full of stories.
It sure is.
And if you want to be a good storyteller in English, you need more than just closed boxes. Which brings us to our second past tense lens, the past continuous. This is where English storytelling really starts to get its flavor.
It truly does. The core concept of the past continuous is an action that continued over a period of time in the past. I was studying. We were living.
Okay.
But as Brian explicitly points out, native speakers almost never use this tense just by itself. We almost exclusively use it for a highly specific narrative purpose, to give context or background scenery for another action.
Let's examine the scenarios to see this in action. I was studying when the phone rang. We were living in Canada when we got engaged. He was running when he caught the ball.
Do you notice the structural pattern in every single one of those sentences?
Yes. Every single scenario contains 2 separate actions crashing into each other.
Yes.
Studying crashes into the phone rang. Living in Canada crashes into got engaged. Running crashes into caught the ball.
Exactly. The past continuous is always the first action, the one with the spinning motor. I was studying. We were living. This tense's entire job is to set the stage.
It sets the mood.
It creates the environment, the weather, the atmosphere where the main event is going to take place.
You know, my favorite analogy for this is a theater stage.
Oh, let's hear it.
Imagine you are watching a play. The past continuous is the painted backdrop hanging behind the actors. It is the scenery.
Oh, I like this.
Right. I was studying is the painted scenery of a library. It's just sitting there, establishing the mood. The motor is running softly in the background.
Okay, setting the scene.
And then the phone rang. That is the past simple. That is the lead actor suddenly kicking the door open, walking onto the stage, interrupting the quiet scenery, and starting the drama.
That is a brilliant way to visualize it. The past continuous paints the background environment, and the past simple delivers the interrupting action.
Exactly.
And this explains why English speakers need this tense so badly. If you just walk up to a friend and say, the phone rang, they're going to look at you blankly.
Like, okay, And
Right. Okay, it's a fact. A closed box, so what? But if you say, I was studying for my final exam when the phone rang, suddenly you have a rich, textured, high-stakes story.
you have tension.
Yes. The listener understands your exact state of mind and your environment when the interruption shattered the piece.
It is entirely about setting the scene. It invites the listener into the memory. But this leads us to a massive storytelling problem.
Oh.
The past continuous is great for an interruption, but what happens when we need to organize a story with multiple past events, but human memory being what it is, we want to tell the story entirely out of order?
Ah, yes.
That brings us to our third past tense. And I know for a fact this one sounds intensely intimidating to learners. The past perfect.
It does sound intimidating. When a learner hears past perfect, they think of complicated rules. But it's actually incredibly logical once you see the mechanical problem it solves.
Okay, let's see the mechanics.
The past perfect, which uses the structure of the word had, paired with our old friend, the achievement unlocked, past participle, like had studied or had eaten, is also used to provide context for another action in the past.
Right.
But the unbreakable golden rule of the past perfect is that it always comes beforehand on the timeline.
I call this one the prequel tense.
The prequel, yes.
Let's look at the scenarios Brian provides. Sarah had already left by the time he got home. I had already booked the tickets when the concert sold out. We had eaten a big lunch, so we weren't hungry when we got to the hotel.
Let's surgically dissect that first example. Sarah had already left by the time he got home. We have two distinct closed box actions in the past. Action A, Sarah leaving.
Yeah.
Action B, him getting home. By using the past perfect lens saying Sarah had already left, we are explicitly, mathematically telling the listener that her action happened first on the timeline, regardless of what order the words come out of our mouths.
Right, and Brian makes a fantastic observation here about time. He notes, it could have been a minute before, an hour before, or a year before.
Yeah.
All we know is she had already left.
Exactly.
The exact measurement of time on the clock does not matter at all. The only thing that matters is the sequence of events.
Exactly. This tense is the ultimate timeline management tool. It allows an English speaker to tell a complex story totally out of chronological order while still making it perfectly 100% clear to the listener which event triggered the other.
Okay, I am going to push back here on behalf of every exhausted English learner listening.
Please do.
Why do we need this? Why complicate the grammar? Why don't we just use the past simple for everything and speak in chronological order?
Because that would be too easy.
Right. Why not just say, Sarah left, then he got home? Or, I booked tickets, then the concert sold out. It is so much easier. Why force me to learn had left?
Because human conversation is messy, and human brains do not remember things in perfect chronological order. We are emotional creatures. We almost always remember the emotional result of a story before we remember the mechanical cause.
Okay, explain that. How does emotion dictate the grammar?
Think back to the very beginning of our deep dive, the coffee shop date. You want to start your story with the highest emotional peak. We missed the movie.
The tragedy.
The tragedy. That is the result. It's a past simple closed box. But once you deliver the punchline, you have to explain why. You have to jump backward in time to the cause.
Oh, I see.
If you just use past simple again and say, we missed the movie, he forgot the tickets, the listener's brain gets slightly confused. Did he forget them at the theater? Did he forget them after the movie?
Right, the order is jumbled.
To make the timeline smooth, your brain needs to invent a prequel. So you use the past perfect. We missed the movie because he had forgotten the tickets. The past perfect allows your brain to seamlessly jump backward on the timeline without confusing your listener about what caused what.
It's a time machine. It really is a grammatical time machine for storytellers. It lets you start at the end of the story and safely travel backward. I love that.
It's very handy.
Okay, that leaves us with the final past tense lens. And this one takes the time machine of the past perfect and attaches the heavy spinning motor of the continuous.
There we go.
We get the longest name yet, the past perfect continuous.
It is a mouthful. I had been studying.
It sounds utterly terrifying. But let's look at the core concept. It describes an action that continued over a long period of time and then was violently stopped at the exact moment of another action. I think of this one as the interrupted marathon.
Yes, and much like the other complex past tenses, we almost exclusively use this to give dramatic context to a story. Look at the scenarios. I had been watching TV when the power went out. He had been eating pizza every day when he started the diet. We had been talking about going to France for years and finally decided to go.
I have to say, the way Brian Wiles explains this specific tense in his masterclass is incredibly visceral. He uses a physical rhythm that perfectly brings the tense to life.
He really does.
For the example, I had been watching TV when the power went out. He literally repeats the action over and over to demonstrate the ongoing heavy duration. He says, I was watching, bam, power went out, no more watching.
That repetition is the key to understanding the psychology of the tense. It shows you the momentum of the action, building up, gathering speed, right until it violently crashes into a solid wall.
Think about the pizza example. Eating pizza, eating pizza, eating pizza. Bam! Started the diet. It brings such incredible dramatic tension to a simple sentence. It's not just the cold fact that he ate pizza, it's the feeling that he was in a continuous, heavy, unstoppable cycle of eating pizza, and then the diet acted as a brick wall that stopped the momentum cold.
That is the perfect way to describe it. It emphasizes the sheer weight and the relentless momentum of the first action right up until the second action cuts it off. It is the most dramatic lens in the entire camera bag.
Okay, take a deep breath. To you, the learner listening right now, congratulations. Look at what you have accomplished so far.
It's a lot.
We have officially mapped out the present and the past. We have looked at permanent background facts, spinning live broadcasts, bridges of accumulated experience, drawn bridges of closed boxes, painted theater backdrops, time-traveling prequels, and violently interrupted marathons.
It is a massive amount of cognitive architecture. But it means we are now on the final stretch of our journey.
The final frontier.
Exactly. Having exhausted all the ways to describe what is currently happening and all the ways to recount what has already happened, the English language finally turns its gaze to the great unknown. It looks at what hasn't happened yet.
We enter the unwritten timelines of the future. And guess what? We have 4 lenses here, too. Let's start with the widest, most common lens, the future simple.
The future simple is all about our predictions, our casual plans, and our promises. These are actions we believe or hope will happen in the future. Structurally, it is beautifully simple. We just take the word will and put it in front of the verb.
The scenarios Brian gives are phrases you hear a dozen times a day. I will call you tomorrow. We will bring cupcakes to the party. He will be there by 6 p.m.
Now, we need to spend a little time dissecting the physical mechanics of speaking here, because the way textbook English looks on the page is very different from how spoken English sounds in the mouth.
Yes, let's talk about the physical quirks of the language. Because if you walk around a grocery store saying, I will call you tomorrow, enunciating every single letter perfectly like a robot, you are going to sound completely unnatural. Native speakers are famously lazy with their mouths.
We are incredibly lazy. As Brian correctly points out, most of the time, English speakers completely swallow the word will and shorten it to just a tiny little L sound attached to the pronoun.
Just a little sound.
Yeah. I'll study, you'll study, he'll study. The will just melts right into the word before it.
Think about, we will bring cupcakes. A native speaker doesn't say that. They say, we'll bring cupcakes. Will, it sounds exactly like the word wheel, like the wheel on a car. We'll bring cupcakes.
Exactly.
But there is another massive quirk here that Brian highlights, and it's one of my absolute favorite things about how English has evolved. There is a completely different structure for the future simple that means the exact same thing as will.
Yes. The infamous going to, or as it is almost universally pronounced in casual conversation, gonna.
Gonna. This is everywhere. So instead of making a formal promise and saying, I will call you tomorrow, you soften it and say, I'm going to call you tomorrow. And then you soften it even further and say, I'm going to call you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Instead of, we will bring cupcakes, it's, we're going to bring cupcakes. Yeah. Or the ultimate casual form, we're going to bring cupcakes.
It is absolutely vital for you, the learner, to know that the will form and the going to form carry the exact same predictive meaning.
They are equal.
One is not more grammatically correct than the other in terms of looking at the future. The only functional difference is the level of formality and the physical feeling of the words. Going to, or gonna, is vastly more relaxed. You would absolutely use will in a formal legal document or a rigid business email, but you would almost certainly use gonna when promising to buy your friend a coffee.
So the future simple handles our general predictions and casual gonna plans. Let's move to our second future lens, which adds that spinning motor to our predictions, the future continuous.
I will be studying. We use this lens to talk about an action that we believe will be continuously spinning over a defined period of time in the future.
Let's examine the scenarios. We will be eating dinner from 6 to 7 p.m. I'll be running errands all afternoon. They're going to be traveling all summer. The baby's going to be sleeping when you arrive.
Notice how, just like in the present and past continuous, you have that ing motor attached to the verb. Eating, running, traveling, sleeping. It implies that the action isn't just going to happen and finish instantly. It is going to be stretched out over the timeline.
I like to call this the future appointments tense.
That is a great title. It creates a solid block of time on the calendar of the future. And if we connect this to the psychology of how native speakers actually use this tense in daily life, it is a highly practical tool for setting boundaries and managing other people's expectations.
Oh, setting boundaries. That is really interesting. What do you mean by that? How does a verb tense set a boundary?
Think deeply about the first scenario. We will be eating dinner from 6 to 7 p.m. Why would someone feel the need to say that to you? They aren't just giving you a random fact about their digestion.
No, nobody cares about that.
Right. They are implicitly, politely giving you a command. They're telling you, do not call my phone between 6 and 7, and do not knock on my front door between 6 and 7, because my time is already blocked out. My motor will be running on the action of eating.
It creates an invisible, protective force field around that future hour.
That is brilliant. Look at the baby example. The baby's going to be sleeping when you arrive. Translation, not ring the doorbell and be absolutely quiet when you walk through the door.
Exactly. You are forecasting an ongoing state of reality so that the other person knows exactly how they are expected to behave when they finally arrive in that future moment. It is a highly protective, functional tense.
Okay, moving right along to our third future lens. We've made predictions and we've blocked out time. Now we need to set goals. We reach the future perfect. I will have studied. We use the future perfect to talk about actions that will be completely finished by a certain specific time in the future.
I think of this one as the future deadline. And if we look at Brian's scenarios, they all completely revolve around deadlines. She will have moved to a new apartment before the end of the year. He will have finished his homework by the time dinner is ready. They will have come home by the spring.
Brian breaks the mechanics of this down beautifully with a visual explanation. For the first example, he tells the learner, imagine a timeline. Here is the absolute end of the year. She will move to a new apartment sometime before that point. It could be a day before, a week before, a month before. The exact time is irrelevant.
I love that visual. I imagine it like planting a flag on a hill in the future. Let's say the flag is the end of the year. You don't know exactly when the action moving to the apartment is actually going to happen, the packing, the boxes, the truck.
Right.
But you know with absolute ironclad certainty that the flag will not be crossed without the achievement unlocked of moving being completed.
Planting a flag. Yes. Look at the homework example. By the time dinner is ready, dinner being placed on the table is the flag. The homework will have been finished before we reach that flag. The exact minute the child closes the textbook doesn't matter. Only that the closed box of the action exists prior to the deadline. It is an incredibly satisfying tense to use.
It really is, because it gives you a sense of relief and accomplishment before the accomplishment has even actually happened. You get to celebrate finishing your homework before you've even started it.
It is the ultimate optimistic tense.
Okay, my friend, we have made it. We are standing at the absolute peak of the mountain, the 12th and final lens in the camera bag.
You're here.
The longest, heaviest, most complex structure of them all, the future perfect continuous.
I will have been studying.
The core concept here combines everything we've learned. It is a continuous motor running action that will be completed at a given deadline in the future, specifically emphasizing the sheer duration of how long the grind will take.
The grind again?
Right. Let's look at the heavy scenarios. He will have been driving for 6 hours straight when he arrives. We will have been living in Los Angeles for a decade this December. She will have been working at the company for 40 years when she retires.
Now, before anyone panics at the complexity of this, I want to point out something Brian Wiles admits in his masterclass. And I think this admission is a wonderful, warm blanket of comfort to any English learner listening.
We all need a warm blanket right now.
He honestly and bluntly admits that English speakers rarely use this tense.
It is the rarest, most endangered tense of all. You could probably live in an English-speaking country and go weeks, maybe months, without hearing a native speaker string this sequence of words together naturally.
It is heavy, it is clunky, and it requires too much breath for casual conversation.
Yeah.
However, when native speakers do choose to use it, it serves a very specific, highly emotional purpose. It is used purely for emphasizing an impressive duration or celebrating a massive life milestone.
I call it the ultimate bragging tense. You do not use a tool this heavy for small, insignificant things.
Definitely not.
You don't say, I will have been brushing my teeth for 2 minutes when the bathroom timer goes off. I mean, it's technically grammatically correct, but you sound completely ridiculous. It's too much machinery for a small task.
Right, you use it for weight. Look at the example. Working at the company for 40 years, that is a massive life-defining milestone. The ing form working, again, highlights the ongoing grind, the daily commute, the thousands of meetings, the endless dedication over those 4 decades, all culminating in the future flag of her retirement.
Wow, yeah.
The sheer number of syllables in the verb tense matches the sheer weight of the accomplishment. It adds a profound sense of awe and respect to the timeline.
We will have been living in Los Angeles for a decade. That sounds like a survival achievement. You navigated Los Angeles traffic for 10 unbroken years. You deserve a long verb tense to celebrate that.
Exactly. It is a celebratory monument of language. It wraps up the unbroken chain of action, the exhausting duration, and the future milestone all in one neat, albeit an incredibly long package.
Well, let's take a moment to celebrate our own monumental milestone right now. To you, the learner listening to this deep dive, congratulations. You have just successfully journeyed through the mechanics, the psychology, and the storytelling power of all 12 tenses of the English language.
You did it.
You started by grounding yourself in the wide-angle foundation of the permanent present. You traveled through the complex time machines and backdrops of the past, and you planted optimistic flags in the distant future.
It is no small feat of cognitive endurance. And I truly want to validate the intense effort you are putting into mastering this. If your head is spinning a little bit right now from all the gears turning, that is completely normal, and it means you are stretching your brain in the right way.
Absolutely. Our main goal today was to remind you that these 12 tenses are not rigid, arbitrary rules designed by cruel grammarians to torture you on a midterm exam.
They aren't.
They are not a mathematical spreadsheet you have to solve. They are beautiful, highly specific, emotional tools. They are literal lenses you use to describe the messy, complex, fascinating human experience of moving through time.
And please remember the practical reality we discussed at the very beginning of the journey. The present simple and the past simple, the basic facts and the closed boxes, those are going to comfortably carry you through the vast majority of your daily human interactions.
Right.
You can order coffee, you can make deep friendships, and you can navigate the world beautifully with just a few of those basic lenses. The others, the perfects and the continuous forms, the prequels and the unbroken chains, those are storytelling nuances. You can slowly, patiently integrate those into your speech as you master the rhythm of the language. Do not rush it.
Keep this deep dive in your back pocket. Come back to it whenever you feel stuck, whenever you need to swap out a lens and try a new perspective on time. But before we let you go, I want to leave you with a final, slightly mind-bending question to ponder on your own.
Oh, I love a good thought experiment to close things out. What is it?
There is a famous theory in linguistics called the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis. It basically suggests that the structure of the language you speak actually shapes the way your brain thinks and perceives reality.
Okay.
So if that theory holds any water, how does having 12 highly specific, distinct ways to slice up, measure, and package time actually change the way English speakers perceive the world around them?
That is a profound psychological question.
Does having all these future-perfect deadlines make English-speaking cultures more rigidly obsessed with productivity, schedules, and planting flags? Or does having access to all these non-linear past-perfect prequels just make us better time travelers in our own minds, constantly shifting back and forth, obsessing over the causes and effects of our actions?
It's the ultimate chicken and egg scenario. Does the language create the culture's view of time? Or did the culture's obsession with time invent the complex language?
Exactly. It is something fascinating to mull over the next time you find yourself reaching into the camera bag for one of these 12 lenses. Just remember, do not let the grid intimidate you. Throw the spreadsheet away. Just pick up the camera, choose your lens, and start describing your incredible world.
If you enjoyed this, give the video a like, share it with a friend, and don't forget to subscribe for more English tips.